Next one is the KPFA elections report back, and I would like to go first on that without any objections. So I've been trying to put a real debate together. I have been working, pretty closely with the election supervisors, local, and then the national one now that there isn't a local, and they have been extremely helpful, which really kind of bugs me on the RP side. Is like everybody complains about Renee, and I'm like, well, she's doing it by herself, which when we had the listener forum, and one fault to me is that I have not uploaded the discussion after. So I have the files and did some editing to get the on-air forum on the YouTube channel. So I also have the after discussion, which was awesome. And that's how the board's meeting should go and be that civil. I mean, Don, I think, even made the joke that if the local station boards were civil as the discussion, off-air discussion after, even to the point of because our time got cut off, so there were still like 3 people who didn't get to answer the young person's question on air. So we were all like, and it was like, oh, well, let's just, we're still recording, let's let them answer, and then it can go up on a YouTube channel. I don't, so I just think it's a matter of, just like for the Oakland Greens here, that I'm going doing it. You can only have so much trying to balance the energy, unless maybe when I was in my 30s, if I would have been more political back when I was younger, to have energy to just go forever and ever. That just doesn't happen anymore. So I've been trying to put this debate together, like a real debate. I actually have 2 judges. One's a civil rights attorney, another one works in an immigration lawyer's office. And I even was going to say, fuck it, and moderate it myself. We were going to have 3 teams: Rescue Pacifica, the Protectors, New Day Bylaws, or whatever name they might change to in the future, and then the independent candidates. I emailed the Protectors. They did have someone contact me whose name escapes me. They said that they were registered green, and they would not participate because it had something to do with the on-air listener forum with Rescue Pacifica, talking about the lawsuits, and that this part too is probably what I heard. I know she said, as a quote, not even say it's a she, they said, I don't know how they identified, they said Rescue Pacifica shouting like out and out lies and falsehoods, and they weren't going to participate if people were allowed to do that. What I heard was that they didn't like being called out about lawsuits, and what they're saying is that the lawsuits weren't true. Well, I'm like, well, that's easy to fix. I think that you would want to have that chance to dispute it. I was like, because I'm like, you are hearing what I'm saying, that this is going to be a debate with judges. And I was like, if you've ever seen Newsroom, like if that was the case, we were going to call that shit out. That was going to be one of the purposes of the debate. Another concern was, as far as the whole green cabal thing, was that they felt that having a program committee from out of the local station board had all Green Party, and that the Green Party shaped the agenda of the programming that you wanted, we only wanted to have like Green Party programming on, and never talking about Democrats, Republicans, or anything. I was like, well, you had, and I said this, and I was like, well, none of you have ever come to a meeting or an event. And if you did, I can speak again personally, because I am the one producing these events that we open to everyone, always. I was like, just like the same thing that came from Rescue Pacifica, that there was no studio time. I was like, fuck you. I was so fucking hurt by that. I was like, I have emails saved from the local election and myself to all the candidates about the studio space that we still have until October 4th, the national supervisor, and from me. So that's just bullshit. And it just seems like a lot of it is just petty fucking playground argument. It goes back to the joke that Don made that, oh, if the off-air discussion was as civil in the meetings, which I guess even the last one was not even all that civil, and there was tons and tons of bullshit in it. So, and it was very, very hurtful. And I will end there. And I see Don's hand, and go ahead if I have more to say, I promise.
Did anybody here see yesterday's meeting?
I got the minutes. I did not attend. I was working.
At one point, Sharon actually shouted at a open session person. There's that time where it's community comments. She literally shouted at her, and there's been like this. It's kind of bizarre. I mean, Sam came in and I showed it to him, and he was like, "Wow, how unprofessional and immature." So it's like it's strange. It is really strange. But I want to tell you a couple of things. One, the whole business that like the program committee was dominated by Greens never happened. They hold the majority, that faction holds the majority of the local board, and they decide who's on the committees, right? They're the majority of everything they want to be a majority of, right? So, and then the vast green conspiracy thing was like, they were accusing us of doing what they do, recruiting candidates, coaching them, doing all this other stuff. And then the constantly screaming liar, it's like they seem to want to be able to veto what other people say because they don't believe that it's true. Well, let's talk about whether it's true or not. And it's like big stuff. It's like closing down WBAI, which did happen, or suing the station, which also happened, right? Twice. And then this whole behind the backs bylaws referendum. I mean, I was on the board. That proposal was never brought to the board. They never attempted to do like, hey guys, we have some proposals for the bylaws and yada yada, let's discuss them and then pass them up the chain. No, they went straight to collecting signatures and overriding the whole thing. So,
twice.
Twice.
There was a second one. They did it twice.
And now they claim that they've won the second one because they had a majority of the listener votes, or the listeners that voted. But, those aren't the rules. The majority of the staff voted against it. So, you had to have a majority in both groups. So, it's amazing. It's really amazing, and I don't know how to deal with it. I was just, emotionally, it's very hard to be on that board.
Yeah.
It really reminds me so much of the Trump Republicans. The Trump Republicans say, we won the election, we won the election. And what does New Day say? Oh, we won the election, we won the election. So.
Well, and yeah, I guess you can when you spend fucking, tens of thousands of dollars on a fucking community radio station bylaw referendum. Like what the fuck are y'all, where are you getting this money? Right?
Well, that's a good
could you have just donated it to the station? Fucking, and just given them the fucking money? They sure as hell couldn't use it. And
there's that, and there's also the whole insecurity. I mean, they're interrupting people. There's Sharon and Sabrina. And like at yesterday's meeting, Sabrina was turning her mic back on and interrupting somebody while he was talking. Like, he was trying to talk and she turned on her mic and say, yeah, sure, click. And just, just infantile type of interruptions and like this paranoia. And it does remind me of the Republicans always screaming fake news. But when it was really them who were faking the news, right?
I actually offered to drop out of the race and become like the stage manager and to regulate that shit. But it was, and I won't name drop for this particular comment, but it was said to me, no, run anyway. And then when you get on the board, still regulate that shit. You could just, we'll just give you the power and you could just do it. Because it is very painful and emotional and people have quit because of it. So I can't wait to get back in person. Personally, I fucking, and right to camera, I dare one of them motherfuckers to start talking shit like that to anyone in person. You just don't. Not without fucking the reaction coming and everyone going, oh yeah, okay, I see that. I totally see why that might happen, right? Oh, you called his mother a bitch. Oh, damn. That's what happened to your lip. Yeah,
I did place a motion that we stop using chat at the meetings. And they pushed back on it, and people were trying to say that, oh, it's the people who aren't really on the board that are causing the trouble on chat, and it's not, right? It's Sabrina and what's her name, Sharon. And Sharon actually shouting at a member of the public during public comment time. That was just like too much. She shouted, "Shut up!"
I just can't, yeah, I don't, that's, yeah, that's just too much. So I'm still going to plug away. It's obviously not going to happen before the election. I still want to use this, and I guess also full transparency. One of the reasons I wanted to do it for this election because I want to see if this format would work as a good fundraiser in the future for the Oakland Greens. I think it would, and the idea would. Now we'll talk about that another time when it comes to it. But anything else right now on the KPFA elections?
When is the voting over?
October 15th, midnight, October 15th.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else on the election?
Most recent report. Let me update that.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Greg. Go for it. I'm stepping on top of Greg. Greg.
Yeah,
go.
Greg.
Yeah, there's always a last minute rush, and I'm just wondering if all of us who are interested in electing good candidates, if we can beat the last minute rush and start sending out a lot of email messages around the end of this month or even the first couple of days of October, because what will happen is the last week before the election, there'll be a big rush. But if we can get ahead of that, so if folks can draft some emails and we can send it out to our personal lists, and maybe we get the county to send another one. Yeah, if anybody wants to revise the previous county message, we could have some version of that. And of course, it should remind people, if you can't find your ballot, what they should do. Because at this point, probably a bunch of people have lost the information about how to vote.
Yes. And well, we definitely will push it on at the tabling on the 2nd. Yes, Don.
Last report is 5% of the people have voted. 5% of the KPFA members have voted. I think they have to have at least 10% of the people to vote to make the election valid, which is miserable. And if they don't, the election continues to stay open.
Yeah, 10% is abysmal.
Yeah, but if they don't have 10% by the 18th, the election does not close.
Interesting.
Well, we should push to get our voters in.
Well, we get it. We know the bylaws need to change. That'd be a good change to have more than 10%, right? Especially for a community radio station. Anything else now on the KPFA elections? Seeing none.